What is up, guys? It's your boy, Rick. Telesto has also received another sternly worded lecture. Kackis here. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to support the channel, and let me know what you think my next intro should be. That comment section is absolutely wild. Alright, today, we're going to be showcasing what is honestly one of my favorite Warlock Exotics to be using in PvE within Season of the Lost, and a build revolving around it. However, I don't think I've seen a single person that I can remember in any of my random fire teams and matchmaking also using this exotic. And the reason they're not is kind of also the reason it's taken me so long to make a video about this, is that there's just so much other stuff going on in Season of the Lost, and everyone's trying out the new things. Not as many people are paying attention to the things that actually weren't very meta before this season. So, the exotic in question is actually the Stormdancer's Brace exotic chest armor. And a few of you knew this was coming. I actually made a members only post in my community tab forever ago telling people how good this thing was. If you want to become a member, just click that join button beside subscribe, support the channel, get access to a bunch of stuff. But why is this exotic suddenly so good in Season of the Lost? Well, it got an absolutely massive buff in actually two different ways. Firstly, it buffs Stormtrance. It actually says each target you defeat with Stormtrance increases the damage you deal with it, and it refunds your super energy when Stormtrance ends. So Stormtrance itself, especially Bottom Tree, got some buffs in general, and that's why you're seeing especially Bottom Tree so much more in PvP. The 5 projectiles that Landfall now creates, combined with the fact that your Arc Buddy, your Arc Soul, shoots faster and therefore is more deadly, has really increased its usability. And that matters when you're using it in PvE as well. But really the massive buff is actually the second half of the Ascending Amplitude perk, and that is the fact that it refunds super energy. Guys, before Season of the Lost, this did not do that. So it just provided that damage increase, and that damage increase is pretty substantial. You're going to scale up to, I think, around 150% bonus damage with your Stormtrance. I mean, they call it Tickle Fingers for a reason as a meme, because it doesn't do very much damage. So the Brace is going to give you some much needed extra damage for taking down, yellow bars and more powerful enemies within PvE. But again, moving back to that super energy refunded, wow, this just completely changes how the Brace actually functions in-game, because what Bungie essentially did with this buff is put the Orpheus Riggs exotic hunter legs into the Stormdancer's Brace for free with a buff. Because that thing refunds up to 50% of your super, and now the Brace does the exact same thing. As long as you get some kills, you will get up to 50% of your super back automatically. So you pop a buffed subclass, with Landfall especially, it's going to be better than normal, and then as long as you're getting kills, which is easier to do because of that buff, you're getting 50% of your super back. Guys, it is legitimately hard to not get 50% of your super back with Stormtrance increasing in damage over time to become pretty darn deadly by the endpoint. You are absolutely decimating most enemies in most PvE activities. So again, almost impossible not to get 50% of your super back. And therefore, if you're refunding half your super every single time, what that means is you're essentially getting your super twice as often. And that is just very, very powerful. It really, really makes certain encounters a joke. You clear out every single ad and then you get your super back. God forbid your teammate uses a super, you pick up their orbs, you basically have your next super ready to go. But we can really double down on this strategy and even further try to increase how many supers we're able to cast. So the next thing we need to use to complement this is the new seasonal mod, Well of Potency. Picking up a matching elemental well grants you super energy. So obviously we need to be producing a bunch of elemental wells, and we're doing that mainly through elemental armaments. So weapon takedowns with a damage type that matches your subclass is going to have an escalating chance to spawn an elemental well. Then we're actually going to be using the new seasonal elemental well mod, Bountiful Wells, which is going to let elemental well mods that cause you to spawn wells stack. So use one of those, and we're actually using another elemental armaments. And this means every time we spawn those arc wells from using an arc weapon, we actually get 3 wells. So we're just yeeting out a ton of different wells. And of course, we need to use a good arc weapon. Why not just use the Aikilos SMG, one of the best weapons in the game for PvE? One with Demolitionist is preferred simply because we want to be using our grenade as well, because we actually also have an elemental ordnance mod, and this is actually going to also spawn like 2 elemental wells now every time you trigger that. So we are just throwing out elemental wells like you wouldn't believe. Now, aside from the Aikilos, our other weapons include the Wither Horde in the kinetic slot, and then I have just a good arc heavy grenade launcher to again get those easy arc kills in case I need wells, and having 2 grenade launchers here let me use like 1 grenade launcher scavenger, and it's going to work for both. And then I think the one last thing that kind of brings this build together and makes us actually very team focused is the brand new perk, the stasis perk for your helmet, Power Preservation. Your super final blows create extra orbs of power for your allies. Now guys, I did a whole video on this thing because it is genuinely one of the most powerful mods in the entire game for PvE now. Not only are you going to spawn more orbs than normal, like usually when you'd kill a random red bar with your Stormtrance, you wouldn't even spawn an orb, but now you're basically going to spawn one every time. But also it removes the cap. Previously, without this perk, you could only spawn up to 7 orbs of power. That was it. You could never get 8. Now it's completely uncapped. You can get up to like 15 orbs of power with a single super as long as you're slaying out. So this is going to indirectly get you more supers because it's going to get your teammates way more supers because they're getting way more orbs, and then they're going to just be able to use their supers more often, which is going to produce orbs for you. So, at the end of the day, here's what we have going on. We have a buffed subclass and super, and then we have a really buffed exotic that lets us use that buffed super a lot more often. And then we have a bunch of different mods that, for that small amount of time your super's down, it's churning through more super energy, trying to get your super back even faster. You only have to regenerate 50% of your super, and this build lets you do it as fast as possible, so you can keep using your buffed subclass even more. Oh, and by the way, every single time you're using your buffed super with all your buffed stuff, you're producing a crap ton of orbs and being your teammates' like best friend. You're gonna be the guy that people have dreams about, like, oh, I wish my Nightfall teammate produced 50 plus orbs in a single Nightfall. You're gonna be that guy, and your teammates are gonna love you for it, and it's a ton of fun to play personally. So that is a look at, again, a very underrated but very powerful exotic that got some meaningful buffs this season, as well as a build around it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, found it informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKackis. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.